Namaste, dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, hola, konnichiwa, bonjour. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Ken at 10. How are you today? Valentine's Day. Show us the love. Click the like button, hold it, press love. Thank you very much. How are you? If you're here for the first time, welcome. This is Ken at 10. We're James Alexander Estate Agents, and we broadcast daily all about property, giving you the latest news, things that are going on both locally and nationally, and giving you a flavour of where we see the market from what you might call as the coalface, in the sense that we are customer facing, dealing with the sales and negotiations of property throughout Southwest London, literally daily, and hundreds of landlords use us as well. So we can give you a flavour of what's going on in both the letting, sales and investment markets. So how are you? I hope you're well. Hope you got lots of Valentine's cards. You can show us the love if you're on Facebook just by liking and sharing the video. Thank you very much for that too. And that's what we want for Valentine's. More love, more shares, more likes. Thank you. So I hope you're well. As far as the weather's concerned here in Norbury, it's quite mild actually for the time of year, quite nice. Not raining. Was over the weekend though, wasn't it? Awful, shocking weather. But right now it's mild, not too chilly, and there's a few blue skies around with some grey cloud as well. So a sort of all right day really for Valentine's. I hope you have a good one. Hope you get lots of cards and lots of presents and love from your loved ones. So March, it's revealed. The best month to sell a property. Well, we've been saying for some time, obviously, spring's a great time to think about selling your home. The thing about springtime is two things. First of all, weather. When you're looking for your target market, and in our area, that's young families, if the weather's harsh, then they don't want to bring baby out in the pushchair when it's kind of, a bit rough out there. Of course, once the ice is gone and the sun's out, it might be a little bit chilly, that's okay. But, it's just a nice time to think about it. The other thing about the spring season is it's a very long one. It's the longest season of the year, also the most effective one, the most likely time that people are looking to sell. If you're looking to sell, the good thing about marketing in March is that you really do have a long period before the traditional slowdown. And the traditional slowdown actually comes for the summer holidays. So July, August tends to quieten down while people have their summer holidays with their children. They tend to enjoy their children, go away, and it tends to slow down quite a lot then. So the peak time for selling, and this is official, it's from Rightmove. I'll read you the report that's in City AM, Daily Mail, Daily Star and Express and The Sun today. The data from Rightmove has revealed March is the best month to sell property in the UK, with the highest number of buyers inquiring about each property available on average. Next up is April, and that followed by May. So it's literally March, April, May. And that's what makes the season such a beauty, because if you miss the boat in March, you've still got April and May to get it done. The number of new listings coming to the market also peaks in March, but high levels of buyer demand means March is still the strongest month to sell. The spring surge in the property market is already gathering steam, with 11% new listings up in the last 3 weeks compared with the same period last year, and buyer demand up 32%. You see that mismatch? 32% demand, 11% up in instructions. Still a big mismatch there, which is in your favour if you're selling or thinking of selling. Currently, approximately 3/4 of all properties are successfully finding a buyer, compared to a historical average of around about half. And homes are finding buyers in an average of 39 days compared to 59 days over the last 5 years. So it just goes to show, doesn't it, that the market is out there. It's there to be had. As far as if you're thinking of selling this year, we've been saying for a while now that the springtime is the time to do it. There's still a lot of confidence out there. There are challenges ahead. We know that. There are some frightening things going on with Russia and Ukraine and everything else. What might happen then with China and Taiwan, who knows? But what we can say is, worry about the things that you can control. Don't worry about the things you can't control. What's in your control, what's in your power is when you decide to buy, when you decide to sell. And the springtime is a great time to do that. So this month is a terrific time to prepare for that. So if you're thinking of marketing, terrific time to call your agents, get an idea of what you're worth, get some good advice on how to market, and tee everything up for an early release in March. It's a great time to be selling. Britain's new commuter hotspots. This is a report by the Daily Telegraph. It says the race for space has sent property prices in commuter belts soaring, and it's revealed that in some cases the premium required to move from the city to a commuter hotspot is 280%. Value across commuter belts have outperformed cities, supported by a lack of supply in most popular locations. We do not anticipate this trend to continue this year. And that's interesting, isn't it? And that's what we've been saying for a while now, is that the bounce back of the cities is here and upon us, because we no longer have to think we've got to be out of the city. Most of us are getting back to work, and it's making a huge difference to plans. Many people that thought they were going to go out of the area actually have decided to do the reverse. Now on to rental trends. This is an interesting one. Research commissioned by the NRLA, that's the National Residential Landlords Association, and well worth joining if you are a landlord and you're not a member, they're a good bunch of people, and we're certainly members. It suggests the UK needs nearly 230,000 new homes a year for rental. And Capital Economics determined that if owner occupation and social housing continue at their typical rate of growth, the private rental sector supply will have to increase by 227,000 homes a year. That's right. The private rental sector will have to improve by 227,000 homes a year. And this is what makes buy-to-let such a lucrative investment, is the fact that there's such an undersupply by the government. And then the difficulty is that against that, there are so many challenges for landlords that many are considering pushing back. And this is an article from the Telegraph again. They do a good property section in the Telegraph, to be fair. It's saying that government proposals to hold all private rental sector properties to the decent home standard and introduce a new landlord register is in the Levelling Up white paper, will bring new costs for landlords. And obviously there are lots of landlord licensing schemes, not least the one in Croydon, which has currently failed in its bid to be renewed. But no doubt they may try again at a later stage. Many other people are facing these new license requirements across the UK. And it's a big thing. And what you've got to be careful of is this balance. You know, most landlords, the idea that everyone's a rogue landlord really bugs me. Most landlords are decent, normal people that just want to look after their tenants, make sure their tenants are okay, and charge a reasonable, fair rent given the market. Now, you might say some of the rents are unfair. That doesn't mean necessarily that landlords are making fortunes. It honestly doesn't. In many cases, they've had to pay top dollar because the market actually has made them do that, and therefore they have massive interest costs as well on the finance side of that asset. So stop vilifying landlords. Most of them are good people. They're always going to be the evil ones, and they're the ones that will be reported on. But by far the majority of landlords are just people like you and I that have taken the decision that it will be a good investment for their families, perhaps their children's education, perhaps their retirement. And what we find with hundreds of landlords that we look after on a daily basis is that most of them are small landlords, and they're looking at the income and the security of that income for their own financial futures. And as time goes on, so the value of the debt erodes and the value of the rent goes forward, and that's the investment they take. And I know many people are unhappy about the fact that landlords make a profit, but in the end, it's a business just like any other. You know, if they invested in the railways or something else, it wouldn't be such a problem. So why is it a problem if they invest in housing? We need 227,000 homes a year for rental. There's not going to be enough anyway, even with all the private landlords and all the current investment going into build to rent. So I think it's really important to encourage landlords to take part and know that, you know, the private rental sector is there, it's alive, and it's not going to be just a question of continual red tape and continual persecution from government departments. And sometimes that's how it feels for landlords. So I think they've got to be really careful about that. Affordability crisis looms as demand for rentals highest since 1989 is really coming on from what we've just said. And really, it should be no surprise that new stats reveal 84% of tenants spend more than 30% of their earnings on rent. And although the affordability crisis is most acute in the capital, it's a UK-wide problem with 80% of tenants spending more than 30% of their rent on their rent, and 1 in 3 spending more than 50%. In Northern Ireland, the story is the same, with 30% on their rent, and in the Northeast, it's up to 30% again. So right across the UK, there's a huge problem with demand versus supply of rental, and this is causing rents to be pressed. Now, an appropriate one for Valentine's Day. Did you know it's cheaper to live on lonely roads? I picked this one out especially for Valentine's Day for you. A new study by Inventory Base shows that properties located on streets with names related to being single or lonely are £12,000 cheaper than the average UK house price. Using government data, the results were calculated, finding the average house price of 600 properties located on streets such as Single Street and Lonesome Lane. Would you live on a street called Lonesome Lane or Single Street? Imagine that on your first date. Yeah, I live on Lonesome Lane. But yeah, Reigate, Lonesome Lane in Reigate, where the price difference is 36%. And lonely streets make up 29% of the UK's unloved streets. These include Bachelor Hill in York and All Alone Road in Bradford. So apart from that, we're just about to go to our daily sales meeting. We had lots of action over the weekend with properties to buy and to rent. So we've got to get all that rationalised now and work out what ones are going anywhere, what ones we've got to try and work on, what ones are ready to go, what we can move forward on, get through all the progressions, check on everything that's available, make sure that our landlords and vendors get the best possible service. That's what we're here for. As an independent, the one thing we can promise is that we want you to be 110% satisfied with what we do. Of course, that's not always possible. We make cock-ups like everybody else. But when we do make cock-ups, we own them, we put our hands up and do our very best to put them right. And I think that's the important thing. We're all human. We're all going to get it wrong sometimes, aren't we? But when we do that, we make sure that in the end, we make the best of a bad situation if we can. So that's it for today. Hope you have a fantastic day. Look after yourselves and your family and friends if you can. And we'll be back tomorrow. Hope your Valentine's Day goes fantastic. Don't forget, give us some love. Like, share, and love the Facebook page. Thank you very much. Ciao.